I was sent some perfume samples by Inage of Enchante Perfumes, and these are all vintage versions of different Guerlain perfumes. I got these a few months ago. I want to say April or May, but sometimes I don't get around to smelling things right away, especially if I'm like infatuated with something else. So I didn't smell them back then, but it's kind of a good thing because I'm really into vintage Shalimar right now, and I thought, I had cleared out a lot of my older samples, so I was looking for something new to sample, and then I opened this package and I was so thrilled to see that there is a vintage Shalimar in here, and vintage Jicky and Chamade and Vol de Nuit. So a few things that I had never even smelled before because I had never smelled Vol de Nuit. Mitsouko is also in here, a vintage version of Mitsouko. So thank you so much for sending these, and I'm gonna just talk about all of them as I've been perceiving them for the past week. Really am in my Shalimar era. So I've been wearing Shalimar basically every other day for the past few weeks, couple weeks I would say. I don't like to wear things 2 or 3 days in a row. I really like to, I don't want my nose to be used to something. I want to be able to experience it fresh. So I don't wear things back to back. I change it up and put at least a day in between. But yeah, I've really been liking Shalimar. Today's a Shalimar day too, because yesterday I didn't wear Shalimar. So I can wear it again today, and I probably will. So yeah, let's go through these. I had a friend over yesterday and she was helping me blind sniff, so she knew what they were. I didn't, and she was passing me the scent strips, and I was trying to guess from the ones that I have, and there's 6 of them. I got Shalimar right, of course, and I got Jicky right, and I got Vol de Nuit correct. I'll tell you that I got Jicky right because she smelled it and she was like, ew, this smells disgusting. And I knew right away it was Jicky because that was my reaction when I first smelled it also. Jicky is quite urinous. Like, it really does smell like urine because of the civet in it. And yeah, you might have a nose that kind of tunes that civet out and doesn't perceive it as being quite so animalic, but for some reason, and different versions, depends on what version you're smelling also, but different versions can be more animalic. And when I first smelled Jicky, the first few times I've smelled it, I really don't like it, but I appreciate it more now, and now I'm getting more of the lavender and the vanilla. So yeah, depends on, I guess, how used to you are smelling those materials, right? So yeah, that's Jicky. I do like Jicky. I'm going to try it on skin one day. Maybe not today, but maybe another day. But you can see the transition from Jicky to Shalimar because Shalimar has, instead of lavender, it has an overdose of citruses, which is really lovely and really fresh, and I really like those. But if you don't like the citruses and you like lavender, then Jicky might be more for you. Vintage versions of Shalimar still have civet in them, and they're quite dirty and smoky at the same time, and I think that's why I liked the older versions of Shalimar instead of the newer versions, which were always so tame and not really for me. So if you don't like the newer version, but you like something that's a little bit more interesting, that's kind of what the vintage versions will offer you of all these perfumes. Vol de Nuit, really interesting, very green, has a lot of galbanum and oak moss in the dry down. So I really, really enjoy that. And there's almost something metallic in here, like an oily metal, almost like ground up pencil or like a carbon kind of scent. Like, I want to say it reminds me of gunpowder, but I don't know what gunpowder smells like, but it just makes me think of gunpowder or like smoke from a cannon. That's what I think of. I don't know what that smells like. I've never been around those things, but That's what I think of when I smell Vol de Nuit. And Vol de Nuit means night flying, so it was supposed to just, you know, be inspired by that. It was based on a book, and yeah, really interesting. I am going to wear Vol de Nuit on my skin one of these days too. I love green perfumes, so this one was right up my alley. Chamade was also really pretty. That's how I would describe it. It's really pretty, very floral, very feminine. Not as interesting as some of the other ones, but I like it enough to wear it. Same with Mitsouko. Tons of bergamot, tons of peach, and then lots of oak moss in the dry down. You know, all of these have like that characteristic Guerlain where they are floral and there's something in common. Like you can see that they're relatives of each other, which is kind of cool. And you can see that when you smell them side by side, because you can pick up on the, you know, vanilla from Shalimar and see that it's also in Jicky. And they're all textured, they're all interesting, none of them is boring, they all change on strip and on skin, so that is really great. You know, there's no overdose of anything, and you can kind of see why people do appreciate this type of perfume, right? It's not meant to last forever. You're not getting an overdose of anything. It is something that you can appreciate as the day wears on, and then once the day's done, the perfume's done also. And that's definitely what I like in my perfumes. I don't want to smell something the next day. Of course, maybe the extrait version is different, but I have some extraits from Lanvin that are from, I want to say the 50s, and just because it's an extrait doesn't mean that it's very strong. Some of these extraits still sit really close to your skin, so there's no like beast mode. Like extrait is, yeah, maybe more concentrated, but that doesn't mean that it still has more sillage or more projection or anything like that. And you're dabbing all of these on your skin if they're in a vintage bottle, so you know, it probably will sit close to your skin. I have been dabbing on my vintage Shalimars that someone else sent me, and I do get sillage out of them, especially in the beginning. That citrus, as it disintegrates and goes into the air, does, you know, give a scent bubble around you. So that's kind of cool. I love that. Vol de Nuit is available in, and a bunch of these, I mean, Jicky, Mitsouko, all of them are available in the Legendaire bottles. So, and those are supposed to be quite close to the vintages. So check those out. Shalimar is not in a Legendaire bottle. It's still in its iconic, you know, urn-shaped bottle. But the newer versions are missing the civet and they're missing the smokiness, and they're quite tame and not as textured. I bet there's still beautiful vanillas if you're looking for something that is vanilla, but I just really appreciate the texture of the vintage versions. Not to be a vintage snob, because I don't really think I am, but if they made a version that had the civet and smoke in it, then I would get that. I would get a modern version. Samsara is the only one that I'm not into right now, but I think I've already done Samsara. Like I have a couple vintage bottles. I gave a vintage bottle to my mom too, because I ended up getting another one. It's just not my time to wear Samsara. I think Samsara also for me is so heavy. It feels very heavy. Even though it's jasmine, ylang ylang, you know, there's nothing in it that is warm or cozy. But to me, it just feels so heavy, too rich. And I like it more in the wintertime and not as much in the summer. So I will try Jicky on my skin, maybe today, and maybe Shalimar on the other arm. I am going to wear these. I know they're vintages, and you know, some people would just keep them for reference. I might keep one spray for reference, but I'll just wear everything else so that I can experience it now that I'm into it. So this is Jicky, and then the other side was Shalimar. I have no idea what years these are, so we'll see. Thank you for watching. I will see you next time. Bye.